Hello students, now we will discuss Human Development Index. Human Development Index is defined as a composite index combining indicators representing three dimensions: longevity, life expectancy at birth, and also knowledge which is relevant with this. Second one is knowledge, adult literacy rate and mean years of schooling, and the third one is income, real GDP per capita in purchasing power in parity with US dollars. So, here we are going to see from $1,000 to that of $30,000 per annum. The HDI was first developed by Pakistan economist Mahbub ul Haq, and we can also find this in the works of Amartya Sen, who is a Nobel Prize winner. Both these people have developed this Human Development Index. The first one is Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. It adjusts the Human Development Index for inequality in distribution of each dimension across the population. The IHDI is the actual level of human development, accounting for the inequality, while the HDI can be viewed as an index of potential human development. IHDI could not be achieved because there are lot of inequalities within the society. If we see if we see across Hyderabad also, Jubilee Hills, Banjara Hills, you can see that people have lot of facilities. The roads are very big. If you go to the slum areas within the society, the facilities which are provided by the government are very meager, my dear friends. Within the same place, if we can find these inequalities, then there can be more inequalities across different states and different countries too. If you see, there was a movement in Telangana, in United Andhra Pradesh, saying that the Telangana people are being neglected because they are not getting they are not in a position to utilize the resources, they are not in a position to get the jobs, they are not able to utilize the water resources and so on. And even it may increase the regional disparities and it may also lead to conflicts, my dear friends. So, the first one is Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. The second one is Gender Inequality Index. It reflects on women's disadvantages in three dimensions. First one is reproductive health. Most of the women, even now in some remote areas, do not have the information about reproductive health. How much gap they need to maintain between one child to the other child. What kind of food they need to take so that they can be healthy and the child can be healthy. So, we are going to study the inequality in terms of this reproductive health. In the olden days, in especially Telangana region, if a girl child is born, they used to think that it is a burden on the family and they want to get rid of that child. So, they used to simply put a grain into the throat of the child and the child used to choke to death, my dear friends. So, we are going to see the disadvantages or inequalities in terms of reproductive health. Second one is empowerment, whether women are economically empowered, politically empowered and so on or not. Because if a person is not empowered, that means he or she cannot lead a happy life. They cannot make the decisions for themselves and for families. So, we are going to see what kind of issues are there, inequalities are there in terms of empowerment. The third one is the labor market, whether girls are or women are in a position to enter into the labor market, whether they are in a position to select a job of their choice or not, and whether they are going to get the same remuneration on par with the men or not, whether there are any discrimination in terms of wages, in terms of benefits, or whether there is any exploitation. All this will also be studied by this Gender Inequality Index. This index shows the loss in human development due to inequality between the male and female in terms of achievements. The third one is Gender Development Index. It tries to measure the differences between male and female achievements again from these three basic dimensions. One is health, measured by female and male in terms of life expectancy at birth. Second one is education, measured by female and male expected years of schooling for children, and 25 years for adults, and so on. Third one is equitable command over economic resources. So, we are going to see whether there is any differences between this male and female in terms of all these three dimensions. If we see in the remote areas, the male are given high importance in terms of food consumption because they think that they must be healthy because they are the breadwinners of the family, whereas the female are exploited within the family. So, obviously, when they are not going to get sufficient nutritious food, then obviously their health will be spoiled, my dear friends. The second one is education. If we see in most of the villages, the girl child dropout is very higher due to multiple factors. One is she may be physically grown up, so their parents wants to get the child married, or else there are lack of toilets, or else the school is very far away from their residence, and so on. So, that is the reason why the female literacy rate may be less compared to the male literacy, maybe in terms of primary schooling, higher education, or so on. And we are also going to have ensure that there is equitable command over economical resources, both by the male and female. In the olden days, whatever the property is there is only confined, or it is registered only on the name of the male, but right now even the female can work, can earn money, and also save the money by herself, and also procure the property and register on her name. But the percentage is very less compared with the rest of the developed nations, my dear friends. So, in the Gender Development Index and the HDI is calculated separately. These two are calculated separately for males as well as for females by using the same methodology as in HDI. We are going to use different one. Then the next one is Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index. It is going to identify multiple deprivations at the individual level. It can be health, it can be on education, standard of living, and so on. We are going to gather the information from the using the household surveys, and we are going to gather the data at the micro level, not at the macro level, but at the micro level, so that we can identify the poverty rate and what are the causes for poverty across the country or across the state or local bodies. The next one is Human Poverty Index. It measures deprivation in three basic dimensions again: longevity, knowledge, and a standard living. A decent standard of living is will be depend on the assess of overall economic provisions, and it is measured by the unweighted average of two indicators, that is the percentage of population not using the improved water resources and the percentage of children under weight 4. So, these are the two things which are going to be used to study the living of the people. Then HP12 measures deprivations in the same dimensions as the HP1 and also captures social inclusion, a long and healthy life, vulnerable to death at a relative early age, knowledge exclusion from the world of reading, a decent standard of living, and social exclusion by the rate of long term unemployment. If people are unemployed for more than 12 months, then those people are excluded. So, using these two dimensions, we are going to study the Human Poverty Index in our country. Human development is a process of enlarging people's choice as they acquire more capabilities and enjoy more opportunities to use those capabilities. But human development is also the objective. So, it is both a process and an outcome. The UNDP already has studied about 4 quantitative indicators which are going to use for measuring the human development, my dear friends. I hope till now we have got the clarity on human development. Thank you.